It scared me.
The South team is with South Dakota natives Shawn and his son Dalton for a lesson in coyote culture.
Boom! Here come this coyote blazing past.
And they have a run-in with a coyote that's not willing to give them an easy target. That's all right now on Coyote Culture.
I'm Shawn from Coyote, South Dakota.
Shawn is a pickup man.
Kind of a cowboy lifesaver, I guess.
Basically what a pickup man does is when you ride your bronc to the 8-second whistle onto the rodeo, he'll come by with his horse and actually pick you up off the horse so you don't have to jump off.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've met Lonny, is on the rodeo trail.
Shawn's local. I run into him all the time. He works for one of the utility companies here.
That's my full-time job, but my part-time, I ranch with my brother and dad on a Pine Ridge reservation.
I'm always bugging him about going hunting, you know, trying to go up there and go hunt.
You know, all it takes is one female coyote or something to get a taste of a newborn calf, and they're hard to stop. And you've tried everything you can to control them yourself, but you can't, so you call somebody like Lonny.
Well, finally one day, you know, he said, well, all right, let's go do it.
Derek and Lonny come down and took me and my son out.
I'm Dalton Porch and I'm 12 years old. We ranch out here and ride horses.
Dalton had never shot a coyote called in.
Someone come in fast, and sometimes you'd be sitting there for a while and they'd finally come in, and some would be right off the bat, they'd come in.
He's also one of our Facebook fans, and you know, watches our couple of YouTube videos we have, and he's been wanting to go out with us and shoot one of our guns along with his dad, so it was pretty cool, and they asked us to take him out hunting. So.
Never had that opportunity to be successful at a young age.
It's fun to learn how to call them in, so when you go out, you can call them in too.
You know, that's what it's all about. Being able to take out the youth and let them share the same enjoyment and passion that you have.
You'd find a spot where you think they are and go set up, start calling for them.
On this hunt, we started off with a howl like we so often do. And sure enough, we had a response just right back to the west or east of us. So I've been kind of looking in that area, happened to see some grouse, you know, fly up. And that's usually a pretty good sign of something coming in. So I was really watching that area.
When we sat down to call there, we howled a few times and we heard this coyote yip and howl over from that area, but the way we was calling, and there's a big hill, we figured he'd, you know, probably work that bottom and work his way up. And
right about that time, there she was, you know, and she was not happy. She knew something was up. Being right there, it sounded like a siren blowing in her ear, you know.
It kind of scared me, and I was excited to see it. It scared me.
Right about that time, there she was, you know, and she was not happy. She knew something was up. I knew I had to make a quick shot.
Then she went to bark again, and Lonny put her down right in her tracks. That was pretty sweet.
You know, have a coyote come in and bark in on the fight or something. You know, it gets the hair standing up on your neck, and it's quite the experience.
Shawn and Dalton, I think on this hunt were ecstatic.
It was exciting.
John, I remember looking over at him, he's kind of like,
You know, to have something come in that close and do that, it was once a lifetime experience.
when this coyote, the first coyote started to howl, I could pretty much tell it was a female coyote. We knew there was another coyote with her initially. There was 2 that answered us. And usually those males, being the time of year it is, they don't want to leave their females. So we knew it'd be beneficial to stay there and wait it out, keep calling.
We played the pup distress and kept it going a little longer, and I was just panning over to put the camera on Shawn and Dalton. That coyote, he come from the same area where that first coyote did.
He come blazing right past me and Derek. You could hear, he was so close you could hear his footsteps running past us. By the time Derek got on with the camera, he was already long gone. He done seen us, but luckily enough, he stopped and took that one last look.
Just as he goes under the fence line, he stops just long enough for Shawn to put a good shot on him, put him down. What'd you think of that?
Huh?
What'd you think of that?
I don't know, it's cool.
It's pretty cool, huh? It's a good shot, Shawn.
It turned and stopped, and Dad dropped it right there.
I think he was ready. He was ready to take that shot, and sure enough, he made a heck of a shot on him, and down he went.
To see the coyotes come in is a bigger rush than going out and stalking a deer or something, to me anyways. Probably the funnest we've had in a long time. My boy still talks about it.
It was the best coyote calling I've ever had.
You know, just to see the expression on his face was worth it, was worth everything.
We're always more than happy to go and show the youth on how we hunt coyotes and give him a few pointers on how to do it. And, you know, he was pretty happy about it. He had a blast.
Got him. Double down.
We're out on a spot that we get a lot of coyotes, and I got Damon, one of my buddies from work, run the camera.
Went out and gave it a shot, and I first started off running the camera for him and instantly just hooked like that. There was nothing more to it. I was a goner then. I was just looking forward to it all the time. He had initially told me he wanted to get to know, you know, how to call coyotes. I was not a very successful predator hunter. I was very new into it when I, first met Lonny, but he's definitely shown me the ropes and the correct way to do it and how to be successful at it. And there's a lot of different aspects that go into it. He wasn't afraid to run the camera. He said, yeah, I'm pretty tech savvy. I can figure it out. I get just as much adrenaline out of running the camera as I do if I was actually pulling the trigger. And a lot of it, I think, is some jitters, some nerves missing on camera. I don't know. Sometimes I'd just rather be behind the camera. For me, I was like, okay, that sounds good. You know, I'll give you a try, and if you can, produce some good film, well, then we'll keep rolling. Well, and the hunts prior, he was doing a really good job, and this is another day. We went over to this piece of property where we have called a lot, and in the years past, and always had success. Just always produces something, seems like. We're sitting there calling, and vroom, here come this coyote blazing past, and before we could even get set up on it or even hardly ever even catch it going by past, another one of those, you could hear them run right past you, Well, I'm looking for this coyote to show up down there, and look over to the hill, and there's another coyote. I'm not quite sure if it was the same one or different one. The way he was running, it dang sure could have been, but he acted like a total different coyote on that hill if it was him. We got this coyote on the hill, and I think it's about 300 yards over there. I felt pretty good when I took the shot, but I just missed. This coyote was acting really goofy. I'm not sure if when he first come running past us if he's trying to play or something, but when I missed him, he kind of sprinted back and went right over the hill. It was kind of odd. It was pretty early in the year, and I knew there might have been some younger coyotes around, so we just decided to go ahead and keep calling.
lucky enough. I'm not sure, again, if it was the same coyote that showed back up below us or different coyote or what, but we really got lucky and was able to get another one to come in. This coyote was, to me, pretty plain as day, right in front of us, about 100 yards. But Damon, he was having a heck of a time getting him found.
I don't know how he saw it. I couldn't get the camera on it. I couldn't find him. I didn't know where he was telling me to go with it. And then finally it was just like, boom, there's a coyote.
And I was kind of getting a little frustrated because I was ready to shoot. I shouldn't have been. The coyote was showing no sign of, you know, really any care in the world.
But we also had to work out some kinks on the shooting aspect of things too.
Another air ball. I have no idea what was going on this day, but airballed another one. I'm not quite so sure if I didn't graze him over his back, but he was kind of whirling around and acting really, really odd. That's what kind of led me to believe it might be the same coyote.
That just tells you how good the suppressors are these days, because once you shoot and then usually everything's gone.
And he comes straight at us running up the fence line. That's another good thing about suppressors. The suppressor will break up your noise so much that a lot of time the coyote don't know where the shot come from. The coyote starts running up the fence towards us, and luckily right before he went out of sight, I was able to get a bullet stuck in him and put him down.
I'm surprised we even got one killed on that. That one was not a very fine example of marksmanship, but we still got it done and got it on film, so I'd say overall it was a success.
You see us blowing on these hand calls all through the videos. We choose to run the Reese Outdoors hand calls, just kind of our call of choice. Each one of these calls has a different purpose, and they kind of have a different sound to them. I guess I'll have Derek go ahead and explain to you what calls he uses.
One of my favorite calls I like to use is just this ROH howler. You know, it's got a couple different purposes I like to use it for. Obviously it does a good howl, and it's got that deeper tone, kind of a raspy sound to it for like a jackrabbit call, per se, when you're calling wide open country, because it's a loud call. One of my favorite, I think, is probably the jack on crack. It's a loud call.
Yep.
You can really get out there with it, that sound. It's got a good raspy tone to it. Use that one probably every set.
And I'm kind of the same way, just like Derek. We got a lot of the same calls. The RSS6 is almost like a squeaker.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of mimic maybe a mouse or a baby cottontail. When we walk into a set and it's really quiet day or something, we'll start off with this, and as videos showed over and over, I mean, we call a lot of coyotes in with just these before we switch to something a little louder. I also really like the kind of a newer call, the buffalo horn howler, a loud, soft howler. You can get a ton of different sounds out of it. You can do rabbit distress, you know, any kind of distress with it, as well as howls, like what it's made for. Just a great call. Oh yeah, and easy to blow on.
Yeah.
Lauren Reese has got a ton of different calls. This isn't even half of them, but this is kind of what we choose to run, and they work, guys.
Next time, we're headed out to the Cheyenne River Classic Coyote Calling Contest.
To our surprise, there was 5 coyotes there.
The Coyote Culture Boys team up with one of their sponsors and show you one of the most important reasons why they live the coyote culture.
There's a coyote tracks that came all the way up to within 10 yards of where we were sitting.
That's on the next special episode of Coyote Culture.